Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today for another episode of Running a Holistic Office. I am Kristen Ford, the founder and CEO of Holistic Office, and today we're going to talk about are you doing everything you can to protect your data and how you can take 2 simple steps to get started right now. So, anybody who's joining us today, please let me know where you are signing in from, and so that we can shout out hellos back to you. And if you haven't connected with me yet on LinkedIn, please do so. Always looking for new people to connect with. It's been great, just kind of getting back into the game here and networking with everybody. So why don't we get started? So last month, October, was National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, right? I think you probably all know that, right? But for us here at the Holistic Office, every month is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, right? So what we've decided to do is have a monthly spotlight on tips and tricks that you can use to immediately protect your most valuable asset, your data. And this is going to be the first one. So, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you're able to get something from it. So, are you still writing down your passwords on sticky notes and attaching them to your computer for easy access? I think you might be. Are you reusing the same password over and over? I'm guilty of that myself. And are you spending too much time searching for passwords and then not remembering them and having to spend time resetting them? And, because you just don't remember? You're going to like this show for sure. So, there are 2 things that you can do to immediately start protecting all of your data. And the first thing is we're going to start with 2-factor authentication, also called sometimes 2-step authentication. No brainer, right? Well, you would think so. But as somebody who has personally experienced being blown off by C-suite management because they don't think I need a code to log into an app that I'm authorized to be a part of, for 3 days, maybe it's not the no-brainer that I thought it was. So what exactly is 2-factor authentication? Basically, it's just a second step when you log into an account, right? It can be a code that's sent to your cell phone. It can be an email, or it can be a message from the app itself. Some of these more fancier ones like Google, they send you a message. Is that you? And you say, yeah, it's me. So that's another way that they do it. Or they can use a biometric marker like your fingertip or facial recognition. So essentially, it's just one extra step to make sure that it's really you logging into your apps, right? So if you think it sounds too simple to be effective, please think again. Hacking passwords is still the easiest way to breach an app. People like to think hackers are really industrious, but the truth of the matter is they're pretty lazy. So if you're one of those people that likes to answer all those cool questions about your favorite color and where you went to school and all that cool stuff that circulates, especially on Facebook, but also sometimes on LinkedIn, you may be actually helping hackers to figure out what your passwords and your security questions are. So having that 2-step authentication or 2-factor authentication, it's going to help stop password hacking, and it definitely works. I'll never forget during lockdown getting a notification on my phone about trying to access one of my apps from China. Yeah, during lockdown. No, that wasn't me. So I was able to stop a hack right then and there, and considering that all of our lives are online, this is a really easy thing to actually implement almost immediately. So most apps, they allow you to select this on sign up, right? They immediately say, do you want to, set this up? Yes, do it. If you already have apps and you haven't turned it on yet, just go over to your settings and turn it on. You should definitely be doing this for your software, accounting software, your EHR on at least the first, login, just making sure it's you, and any other app that you have that has sensitive data about your business or your patients or your clients. At the end of the show here, I'll have a few easy tips to kind of implement this so that it's consistent throughout your organization. And you can take about 15 minutes, have a little company meeting. Everybody can pull out their phones or get on their app and easily turn this on. So remember, your data is really valuable, and listen to me, medical data is really the most valuable data that there is on the dark web. So, hey, it's Gabe. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Hi, Gabe. Nice to know that you're here. I appreciate you tuning in. So we're going to move on to our second tip today, and we're going to take a step back and talk about those passwords again, right? So we touched upon the fact that hackers still use passwords as an easy way to hack data. So if you're one of the many people who are still using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or password as your password, and don't be shy, because this is still the most commonly used passwords in 2021, right? I think we need to start beginning to make changes. And one of the best ways to do that is to start using a password vault. That is our second tip for today. So you have no idea how much time you will save just by using this password vault. And it will also give you control over all of the apps that are used in your company. So what are password vaults, right? Basically, they are secure apps. They use encryption and all kinds of just high-level security. And you can store all of your passwords and security questions and notes about the passwords that you and your staff are using all in one place. The great thing about these is that they are accessible on all of your devices. They have extensions for Chrome and Firefox and all kinds of different browsers, so that you can retrieve, generate, change your passwords, and sync among multiple devices, really with just a click of a button. So then you're left with one master password, which immediately simplifies your life. And that's what you need to actually grant access to your passwords. And then all of these on the market also allow you to delegate or give access to people in your organization to specific passwords that they need to do their job more effectively, right? So there are several of these on the market. There's two that I highly recommend and really like. One is one password, and the other one is Dashlane. So I'm going to start with 1Password. 1Password has an easy to use interface, and a lot of my clients really liked it for this reason, because you actually have like this little visual vault, right? That you can label, and then you can give access to. So you can say, hey, this is all my banking passwords, or these are all my marketing passwords. And then you can just give access to the folks who really need access to that. Also, it gives each user a unique key to access the app. So they need this key, and they also need their master password to even gain access into the vaults. And you, as the owner, you get to delegate all of that from a high level, so that you can easily know who has access to what and when. Another cool feature about 1Password is that it has the ability to opt out of autofill. I personally like autofill, but some people want to be a little more careful about that. So you can actually opt out of it. And it also has a really cool travel feature, which allows you to basically, it just kind of wipes your phone clean, right? So when you're going through customs, nobody can scan your phone for the information that's on there, or any of your passwords, or any of that cool stuff. And then as soon as you're through customs, take it out of travel mode and you are back running. So that's a really cool feature too. The other one is Dashlane. I personally use Dashlane, and it is also well regarded and has loads of great features. It is also easy to share and delegate passwords to people within your organization, but it has the added feature of constantly scouring the dark web for breaches, your password, or anytime any of your passwords have been used or sold or anything, and you get reports on this, which is really kind of cool, right? It also has a nifty feature that allows you to designate a person in the event of an emergency. If you're ever incapacitated, they can actually access your vault on your behalf. This is great for really small organizations or even solopreneurs, right? So something really to keep in mind. Dashlane also offers advanced features like a free VPN or virtual private network. These are a must when you're traveling or you're using a public Wi-Fi. It just helps keep prying eyes away from what you're working on, and perhaps even lifting your passwords and all that other good stuff. So, and then the other thing for those people who are really, concerned, Dashlane does have the ability to not let you actually back up to their servers, but I don't really recommend that for anyone to undertake lightly. I think that's something that requires ongoing syncing and really designated, CISO or IT person to be able to actually do that for you. And your CISO is your Chief Information Security Officer. So, both vaults are highly regarded, they're easy to use, and they're really relatively inexpensive. I always read these reviews and they're like, oh, Dashlane's expensive. To me, $60 for an entire year is pretty dang cheap, especially for the peace of mind that you get knowing that you have control over your apps and that they're secure. So all of this sounds great. I know you're ready to run out and start turning on your two-factor authentication, and you're going to get that password vault. So here's a couple of tips to help you get ready for that and to implement this easily across your organization. So the first thing I've always recommend is to set up a designated email that you can use, and a designated cell phone number that is controlled by somebody in management, but that somebody who needs access can use to get these authentications and add them to the two-step authentication. So I would frequently, I always did a lot of finance consulting work. And so we would always set up like finance@yourcompany.com or whatever. And it was just great because we would have this second two-step authentication. I did not have to contact the owner. I mean, there's nothing worse being in a meeting, right? And somebody's like, hey, send me the code, so set this up and make sure it's on all of your accounts. And that way, if an employee leaves for any reason, you are not stuck on the phone and with emails for hours trying to untangle it and prove you really own it and all these other great things. I have worked with multiple clients who have had this issue, and an employee set up everything, didn't tell anybody they even set it up. You have no idea, how to even access it. And then they're quit or they're fired. It's a total nightmare, and it is a major waste of time. So I suggest that you do that. The other thing for your password vault is I would start taking a look at your password list now, and I would put everything into a spreadsheet. Make sure you have all of that information available to you and that it's updated, because a lot of these password vaults will let you bulk import your passwords. So if you just go to their site, they usually have a template. If they don't see it, you can always email and get it pretty quickly. And then with a little bit of formatting, boom, everything is there and available. And so instead of spending, all this time, or worse, buying it and not using it, you're ready to go. And then the third step I'm going to recommend to you is, take that 15 minutes, as we talked about earlier. And, if you have a company meeting or a team meeting, a lot of people, they just, they get the day started, have everybody pull out their phones, like I said before, and set up that two-factor authentication and explain to them why they need it and that they need to add this additional information or email that we talked about before, or a cell phone number. And then the last thing is write it down. Have a policy on how you open accounts, how you use two-step authentication, and how your password vault is updated and used, right? We think when we tell people these things, oh, they're going to remember, but they don't. Give them a break, right? So if you have some kind of a company policy in place, it helps your employees and it better protects you because having to deal with a mess, or as we say, putting out a fire in a business, it just takes time away from what you're there to do, right? So if you're running a practice, you're there to spend time with your patients. You don't want to mess around with passwords. You don't want to have to worry about these things. So as our staff member Daisy, would say, she really doesn't like a mess, except for when it's like her own mess. So we will leave you with that, Daisy and her lovely mess, and I think we're going to give her maybe a new title. So if you have any ideas, on what her title can be, I think she needs to move up the ladder a little bit. Drop us a line and let us know. So that's it for today. If you aren't following us on Facebook, please follow us. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas of things that you want to talk about, please let us know. So thank you so much to everybody for tuning in today. And next week, we are going to talk about what you don't know and how it's hurting your practice. So until then, everyone, have a great week. And thanks again. Bye-bye.